always attended the offline events every single time they qualified for them and represented Europe.
Things are actually getting tense here for Bakery and the rest of his crew. Let's go ahead and check out the battleground for game number 1. Where will we be going? The answer seems to be simple here. We're going to Cursed Hollow for game number 1. Dignitas with the pick. Bands over here on the left side. Looks like we're not going to BOE or Warhead Junction.
So I'm curious to see what the Ducks can show off today, because shot calling has been a bit of a weakness for them. They were really frustrated. We heard it from Chris too. He was talking about it and talking they have to get their hate back. A bit of a slip up where he already indicates that next phase we're going to see a lot of Illidan from them.
A lot of Illidan from a Sport Billy and crew. You know, actually I wouldn't mind seeing Sport Billy on Illidan. That seems like it would actually be a pretty strong pickup.
Yeah, I think when they would probably play Eternal on Illidan now, I suppose. But I think on a skill level, they are really strong. They have a lot of strong players. They just don't have that, I think that synergy just yet. That shot calling, they are not really on the same page in a lot of the fights. And once that changes, they can be a huge force to be reckoned with in the league. So the big question is that something that only comes online in part 2? Chris was talking about it, or can they already make a bit of headway going up against Team Dignitas now?
Yeah, it's really a grind. You know, you have 5 people that on paper just look amazing here, and you have to grind through and find those little things that you just know the other person is going to do, because the moment that you doubt each other, that's where you can see these losses. A hook coming out and locking someone down and getting picked off, etc., etc. So, moving into it, Dignitas and the Playing Ducks out their band out, Tassadar answered back, and Genji will be the first pick.
Yeah, Genji has the first pick. And coming back just quickly to the swap in players, if you look on the change, then most people would agree that on paper, at least, Eternal is mechanically the stronger player compared to Chris Plosion.
Yeah.
But it shows what a massive importance good shot calling and also drafting has. And it's something that Bakery mentioned in the interview, talking that he feels everybody else, because they didn't have to do it for so long, just got a bit weaker in that role. And now they don't have someone that can really get everyone on the same idea in the fights and the same target. So once they get that, it's going to help. But it just shows that it's not only about your mechanical skill as a player, but just having the shot caller role can really make or break a team.
It's interesting how the chemistry of a team, as you mentioned, can make or break a team. How do they pull off together? How do they work together? Is there turmoil happening? Can they all decide on the same idea? 5 minds working together. You mean you can't take the 5 best players in the world and just throw them on a team without a little bit of work here. So while Playing Ducks are a great team so far, it just has not worked out for them. Let's see if they can continue to move forward here. And today they have a big task, handling Team Dignitas, who wants to go to the Western Clash. Dignitas, in their mind, this is a speed bump.
A wise man once said, in order to be successful in Heroes, your 5 players have to be as 5 fingers of a fist.
That guy is so wise.
Yeah, he is.
I wonder who said that. I bet it rhymes with Rixler.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it's actually true.
Well, what do you think about this draft here? First time we're getting Dahaka in the rotations for our teams, and Cursed Hollow, a battleground that he's pretty good at.
Yeah, I like the Haka here for the global soak, so they already have a bit of control over the battleground. Now, when we're talking about globals, we still have the Falstad as a potential. The problem that you already have here, though, is a Falstad would be heavily pressured by Genji and also by Inuparak with the dive. So there's very few teams that will pick a Falstad in this situation. Fnatic still likes to do it, but normally they attempt to at least deny a few of the dive heroes.
Ooh.
But Team Dignitas is actually going down that same path, and they're saying we're not afraid of them. So we can play that now too. It's actually cool that Falstad is being picked up a little bit more. It was one of the successful elements that we saw for Fnatic in the past, and now Dignitas is just mirroring this.
I missed him, man. Falstad really brings a lot to the table. It's helpful in fights. You're able to get that shield at level 4 with your Thunderbolt and really make sure that you're in a spot that you actually handle Genji. You will need more babying compared to normal in the past with that Genji being on the board, but certainly brings his own value to the battleground. So Arthas as well being picked up. Very normal for Team Dignitas. We see Arthas a lot for them, very similar to Tricked. They'll need another tank later on, but they're in a spot where they could even maybe look at, I don't know, a Stitches?
Yeah, they could. They could definitely do that if they feel like it. That's definitely a hero that would work with a lot of what they have, with the Cursed Bullet, with Uther. But first we're having the Playing Ducks going straight into the Lunara and the Oriel. And Muradin is the last pick for Dignitas, so they are trying to dive in a little bit deeper, have a bit more forward momentum now. Let's not forget that Falstad also gives them control over the boss. That's another big issue here, since we have seen on this map a lot of fights happening over the boss pits, and if you have a Falstad, you can always try and get value out of a good gust.
Straight the Mighty Gust. Murden gives him that pick, so they're looking for the Storm Bolt to dive in. Also, he can survive himself pretty well here. He'll have to be careful around the Genji, but now Genji has 2 targets that he may have to jump onto. The Falset or a Murden maybe go for a retreat, and that might give the opportunity for Uther to come in, bring in the heals on lockdown. Uther's one of the strongest pickups you can have against a Genji simply because of that benediction at 16.
Yeah, and also, of course, if you go into the Divine Storm, the stun combo alone is just so powerful. And if you have also the Murden to combo stuns off with, then everybody is just getting in the damage, and you have it get dead Genji as a result.
Dead Genji, those are my favorite Genjis, right next to the Italian Genjis. So looking at Lunara here, will Lunara actually have enough time to open up a fight? Maybe around tributes? It seems like there's going to need to be a lot of work from her.
Lunara should be fairly safe, though, if they play their cards right, since we have also the Dehaka moving in and trying to get that tongue off.
True.
But overall, I really like what Dignitas has here. It's going to be very difficult for the Ducks to break through Arthur's Murden. There's very little that has that damage output that really threatens them here. So I really think that Dignitas has an incredibly tough draft to break. If you get to the 4th set, yes, you are going to have a good shot there. But you have a Murden and also the Arthurs against you, so it's going to make it very difficult.
Yeah, even if you grab the Leaping Strike here, you would still need to get past those tanks, and maybe you have to use both of them there. And if Uther's there with the heals and the armor, things get a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and let's not forget, if you use the Leaping Strike to get past the 2 tanks, you find yourself in 4 heroes that can stun you out, and that is a dead Lunara right there.
You got 4 legs, you can jump pretty fast. We'll see how it works here as we get ready for game number 1. Best of 5 series here. Lunara versus Murden. Let's see how that'll work out for our teams. Playing Ducks taking on Dignitas.
Game number 1 between the Ducks and Dignitas. And to the left, Bakery on Uther for Team Dignitas. We have JPL on Murden. We're seeing Mene here on Grey Mene today. And Snitch is playing the Global. He's playing Falstad with Zelia, rounding the draft off with an Arthurs at that front line.
On the right side, in the red, the Ducks here looking for more victories for the standings here. Nande on Nubrak, Wolf Joe on Oriole Sport, Billy for Genji, Chris on Lenora, and Eternal will be playing Dehaka.
The Ducks have really suffered in the last few weeks. They are 1-4 in HGC Europe at this point. And Dignitas, after losing originally to Team Liquid, having a bit of a shaky start themselves, have really picked up some momentum and are now sitting at a 2-2 score. For them to make it to the Western Clash, they need some wins and they need them fast, and this is where they are trying to start. Against the Playing Ducks here today, and they are going into the series, of course, as the favorite.
Dignitas opens up with a turret kill right away. Playing Ducks unable to answer back. Falstad heads to middle lane. And this has actually been interesting. From Falstad, we've been seeing them floating in the middle lane more often rather than being in a top lane, coming in for a rotation. But also, they keep grabbing the Hammering Town, the Gathering Storm, at level 1 here, just intending just to set up for wave clear and to have some decent damage in fights.
The burst damage can be really cool if you're trying to drop someone, for example, Lunara. Also, every single time you see an Oriole throw out her ult, you basically have a great opportunity to get a huge amount of damage in burst damage, and that's what we're simply looking for here. Bakery also, as we're seeing here, extremely successful with the Uther, having a 6-2 and an extremely high win ratio. Dignitas being quite successful lately. And yeah, this is really where they can prove once again that they are one of the top teams in Europe. Because, let's face it, in the first few weeks, they looked a bit shaky.
It'd be so weird for Dignitas not to be at the Western Clash. It just feels like that is a possibility here. Dignitas doing everything they can, though, to make sure it doesn't occur.
It would be pretty crazy. That would be absolutely insane. We have still 4 teams that are fighting for the last 2 remaining spots at the Western Clash. Fnatic, of course, already being qualified. But Expert, Tricked, Team Liquid and Dignitas all still have very good chances of making it here, depending on the results of the next few days. So this is going to be a big one. This is a big match for Dignitas and for the Playing Ducks. On paper, it looks like a clear thing. Dignitas should take this, but let's not forget we had a massive amount of upsets already this season, and at this point, I'm not going to make any predictions anymore.
Yeah, both their teams fighting for very big prizes. So Playing Ducks, momentum and just getting yourself on the board and starting to get a little more confidence in yourself. Team Dignitas on the other side just wanting to get ready for that Western Clash. They have a bigger prize here, but both teams still fighting for equally great big things for them. JPL taking some damage here on the side as the Playing Ducks will make an aggressive play for the Giants in the top left, and they will take them away.
Nice invade. You know, of course, that roughly around the 2-minute mark, the teams are going to try and get their own Siege Giants. But this time, the Ducks just simply said, guys, we just let our own Siege Giants be, and we are going to take theirs since we know Greymane is going to be on that spot. So they take the Siege Giants of Team Dignitas away, which basically gives them their Giants at a later moment in time. So the Tribute spawns at the top. Hindsight, getting their own Giants would have been a good idea here, but that was still a very cool play on that part.
Team Dignitas was able to soak in the middle, so they got more experience of it all. We're going to have the Tribute grad for the top right for free, as the Dignitas was aware that they're deciding to go ahead and give it up. But either on the bottom, dealing with the Haka pressure and the rotations from the Ducks being available to them, they're going to be okay giving the Tribute and decide to go ahead and just keep soaking, and they'll keep that slight experience lead. Yeah,
Eternal at this point just like trying to make sure that he gets the experience here, but he needs some assistance, especially now the JPL is in. The tower is going to fall. It's more experience for Team Dignitas. One of the ideas here is, of course, to get an experience lead. But the Ducks are answering in kind up to the top lane, and with the help of Lunara, a double tower has been taken down and equals the experience points on both of the teams again. It's just trades that are going for. No direct confrontation, it's just one trade after another, but this could all change now as we are seeing the next Tribute spawn on the map.
7 about to hit for both of our teams, and the experience has been equaled out for both of them, so solid job so far. Falstad has started to match the Haka on the bottom, so we now have an opportunity for both our teams to rotate in. Arthas is yet to leave the top, though, and Team Dignitas, again, just giving up the Tribute. This one's a little bit more defensive and available for the Ducks, so it makes sense, but yeah, they're 2 Tributes behind.
The spawn was really bad for Dignitas. The Ducks were already sitting pretty there in a really good position and were zoning out Muradin. He was the only one who actually thought about interrupting. They didn't rotate Arthas in just yet, and when he was stopped early on, they just simply said, guys, if we try to push in for it, we will probably be in a very awkward position to fight, so they let this one go. It's a good call, makes a lot of sense with the spawn favoring the Ducks, but of course it's also putting pressure on Dignitas now for Tribute number 3.
Well, 7 talents hit for all of our teams here. Icebound Fortitude for Arthas will help him out for being a little bit more tanky, jumping into the fights. You got the Boomerang for our Falstad to help out the Hammering build. And of course Uther in the level 7 power spike there, so whenever his stun comes out, he'll be able to gain a little bit more armor for his teammates.
Yeah, also Greymane getting his stacks really fast. 7 stacks already, just 5 minutes into the game. Bakery gets in a position, Genji not with them yet, so they're trying to interrupt once more, but yeah, they can barely get it against the Bakery here. And they want to fight, but the Haka isn't there yet. They're trying to get some more experience, and Dignitas just pushes forward, pressures them, and Bakery in the back channels through the Tribute. The Ducks know they can let this one go. It's not going to be of any consequence to them. They were just simply trying to get something out of it, and that would, of course, be extra experience.
Now it's all about a race to level 10 here. If the Ducks can get closer to 10, they can fight and get the next Tribute, and that'd be a good spot for them. Dignitas the same for them. They can at least tie it up and be in a spot for the next curse afterwards. So with that slight experience lead that continues to be here for Dignitas, just barely. They hit 9 before their opponents. It's all about making sure to grab the pressure of the Mercenaries too. Both teams grabbing Giants. And with the next Tribute spawning, there is a case here for Dignitas to be in a good spot to have that Giant push in the top.
Yeah, and with a push in the top lane, the Haka, of course, would have to stay there a bit longer. The level 10 is going to be massive. Tribute hasn't been announced yet, so the Ducks still have a very good shot of being able to grab their own 10 in time. It's 13 seconds. Would be a bit of a stretch. It's very likely that they're going to let this one go. It's half a level. You can make that work, but Arthas is zoning at the top and Dignitas is rotating in immediately. They know they have to grab it right away, so the Ducks are going to let this one go too, and then we are going to see that fight for the Curse Tribute.
Wow, exciting series between both of our teams here in the early game. Playing Ducks holding in well, having some pretty good shot calling. The invade help them out to get 2 Tributes early, which allows them to play safer here. Now 10 does hit, and Dignitas moves straight for a boss. Sport Billy's in a spot where he can scout it out, and he will.
Yeah, he sees exactly what's happening there, so he's the only one poking away a bit. The rest of the team is hiding. I like this. If Dignitas would have still tried to take it and push him away, they would have been punished for it. But now we have both of the teams on 10, and this is when the game really starts. Because so far, both have shown a lot of respect for each other. They have played this very, very safe. And Dignitas now has to show that in those team fights, they are the superior team.
Kill potential spiking for both of our teams. That 10 coming online. Divine Shield is picked up for the Uther here, so we won't see that Divine Storm to lock down the Genji, but still enough so far. Mighty Gust here too as well. If we have Genji ever overextend, push away the other team and try to deal with that Genji.
Yeah, so the Tribute spawns towards the right. It actually favors the Ducks, but the Dignitas is in position faster, and that is a big deal right now. Inubarak being attacked immediately. Cleanse comes out. No Cleanse, sorry, just a burrow charge here. We have already Eternal trying to get the Tong against Min and misses it, actually. And that's a problem. A lot of cooldowns being used in that instance.
The poke here is strong, though. for the Ducks between Genji and Lunara should be able to slow down the tribute. So Dignitas is in a spot where they kind of have to force a fight. They want to do it around the scenario when their cursed bullet is up, and it's up in 5 seconds.
They are split. It's a really awkward position for them to be in. They can interrupt, but it doesn't really look like they will get a shot here. Yeah, there's Lunara. Maybe the heal. Nope, Lunara down. And Genji also about to fall. Tries to get away. Sport Billy, with the help of the Dragon Blade, escapes. And it seems as if the rest of the team would get out there too. But this should be a curse against the Ducks. Again, Dehaka delaying it a bit. And they're still poking, but that also exposes Wolf Joe.
Wolf Joe is low, is going to be here. The Impale saves him here for Nande. Sportbilly keeps poking, and this has gone on long enough where Defender's Advantage might come in here for the Ducks. They all spawn with some health. Chris is bounding his way over. They have to delay one more time, though.
The Lethernal is there. Here comes the interrupt. So they have also Lunara on the way. She needs to deal with the camp, though, at least to a certain extent. They're already doing that. So this tribute has still not been taken. The Ducks have done well delaying it, but a lot of resources have been used, and Divine Shield and the Mighty Gust are still available to the team in blue.
Chris Bullet does come back, too. Big Impale hitting. 3 people low. Chris working the damage on Snitch. We do have a Therno coming in. He has a drag available. Can he hit Mane?
Yeah, he was trying for it, but Mane already moving out. He's isolated, though. Gets the Divine Shield barely before he dies, but this was a good fight for the Ducks already, and they're trying to go in once again against JPL. The Cocoon is already being used, but Muradin is in trouble. He's likely to fall, and indeed does. Bakery with interrupt against the channel, but he is also completely isolated from the rest of the team and will fall.
And the Ducks will be able to kill Bakery and grab the tribute. No, they go ahead and hold off on it. They want to grab the boss, too. They're thinking about, do we get the boss? They decide not to. They put Genji in the bottom, put Dehaka in the middle, and they want to soak all 3 lanes at once so they can get a nice experience lead here. They find Zelia by himself. Shouldn't be able to get the kill.
I actually would have liked the boss play here. I think they had 3 kills. There was no real risk, but this just shows that at this point they don't want to risk anything. They're a little bit intimidated, I want to say. The Ducks of old would have gone for the boss play and simply synced it with the tribute here. As is, they're already going to get a lot of value. Don't get me wrong, this is still going to be a good play for them, but they could have even gotten more out of it. It was also a fantastic team fight, especially after losing Lunara early. They had a problem just getting everyone into a good position to fight. They were split at the beginning since Dignitas was closer to the tribute as it spawned. But now the Ducks having the 3 kills against 1 and an entire level lead. It was a really cool team fight from them.
The delay tactics working out for the Ducks as they're able to open up the map here, putting damage on the fort in the middle already.
Yeah, also during the fight, the Gust being dodged as Genji and Lunara were both jumping on Falstad. It was absolutely successful, and that it really opened up that window for them.
Well, Wolf Joe taking damage here from JPL as he's moving forward here, but there is no follow-up. Stitch can't quite dive in with Nande holding on to his abilities here to CC him. Stitch is forced to pull back, and the Playing Ducks will not be able to get in kills, but neither will Dignitas. The fort in the middle does get saved.
Yeah, the fort is really low, and right now the Ducks are of course thinking about going for the boss, but so does Dignitas. So both the teams are waiting around. The Turtle is double checking what's happening. He sees it, and immediately to the top the Ducks are also moving for their own boss. It's going to be a trade. So both of the teams are going to get a boss, but let's not forget that the Ducks have the favorable position because their boss will attack the keep, whereas Dignitas at the bot lane has still a fort that they have to face.
I'm kind of hoping the Playing Ducks actually push with this here. Be a bit on the aggressive side. Be willing to disengage. There's a Mighty Gust available for Falstad. A fly behind could be devastating for the team. But at least get this boss pushed forward. That way they can get that keep wall.
They can also go for the Siege Giants. They have a play for the Siege Giants, but that's of course something that Dignitas knows as well. And Zelia already scouts it. Snitch can go over. Curse Bullet is hitting, but that should be an easy heal. And they will get the Siege Giants here, or is JPL? No, he's not going to move in for it. Dehaka is still at the bot lane. He also took the Siege Giants, their own Siege Giants, for the defense. That is a huge deal. That is going to push that back so much easier, and Dehaka can always come in at the top. This is the Ducks in a great spot, even hitting towards level 16 early on.
Good moves from him. Team Dignitas is in the spot where they can fight if they want to fight. The window is closing as the experience continues to close out here. Dehaka comes in. There will be a big stun that pops out. Mighty Gust used here from Mana to keep his team alive, but the boss keeps wailing.
The boss keeps wailing, and so do the Siege Giants. Already the damage against Zelia. They're attempting to move back here, at least for now. Good Howling Blast from Zelia. They go in. Stasis used Grace move after the Cursed Bullet came in. We also have the Cocoon online, but now the ults are out. JPL is getting dragged and attacked once again, but Bakery with a stun against Wolfjo.
Wolfjo keeps up the heal here. JPL getting low. Divine Shield still is available. JPL jumps out. Drag does connect. Can Bakery keep him alive? He drops a Divine Shield, but Team Dignitas, they're beaten and bruised. They got to back up while the Playing Ducks are still healthy.
Yeah, the Ducks could maybe even move in here. They still have the 16, but they don't go for the keep yet.
Look at the Giants in the bottom, by the way. They got through the boss, and they're on the fort.
I'm still a little bit torn on the decision-making. I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's really weird. I love that they're playing safe, because in the past few weeks, they struggled so much, and they oftentimes ended up in these situations where it was tricky for them to get value, and they overextended and then died. But at the same time, you want them to be a little bit more aggressive, to force the keep down, maybe make the play with the curse and the boss. So I'm in this weird roller coaster where I'm thinking, I love that they're being careful. I love that they're really making these calls, that they act as a unit, that they're doing everything on the same page. And at the same time, I'm always thinking, I think you could get more.
Just a little bit more. Yeah, they're making aggressive calls with reserve results.
Yeah.
That's what it's been the entire time. 16 to 15, the Ducks still have a little bit of a window here. Dignitas is playing safe and working on their 16 themselves, but the Ducks are getting a power spike here. Remember, they're moving up to that 13, that 16 in particular. Lunara really coming online, as well as the epicenter with the Anubrak. They really get these fights.
Yeah, overall, the Ducks are in a great spot. Yes, the 16 for Dignitas will soon be there, but we have them, from a structural point of view, in a fantastic position. They have the fort in the middle, very low, the one at the bot lane too, so they will get even more experience here. They put pressure onto the keep up at the top.
But Dig has a tribute. Remember, the next tribute, that's a curse, and that's where Dig erases everything the Ducks has done.
Exactly, and that is the one problem with it. So this is the moment where you have to really say, okay, we need to still win those fights, because Dignitas, even though there was a curse against them, is still in an okay spot. But what you would love to is, of course, make those calls where you can get a little bit more aggressive, maybe get that keep early. It's something that we've seen at the mid-season brawl a lot, that teams use those windows that they have, these small opportunities, to their fullest. And this is something that the Ducks still need to do. But here comes Bakery with a potential interrupt. Sport Billy is interrupting, moves back immediately. So far, so good, but Bakery is already on it again. Here comes the drag against Miradan. He eats a lot of damage, and we see Sport Billy on Mane in the backline. Falset needs to be quite careful here.
So going on the back, Eternal did use his Brushstock earlier, so you see Dignitas positioning a little bit more aggressively than it normally would. Now, Mane taking damage there. That was 2 Shurikens into a swift strike. Mighty Gust comes out on the edges. Sports Billy is able to jump away. Eternal low, but the Essence coming in, able to heal.
Good move by Falset, trying to isolate the Aegis target, but not able to make it happen yet. Here comes the Dragon Blade going in, the kill against Lunara. That was the important one, but Arthur's falls too. Cocoon is still in play, as we're seeing JPL getting low. Falset eliminated as Sport Billy pops up on the Genji, gets kill and kill after kill, going for one reset after another, and they want more.
They're looking for more here, and with 4v3, they certainly could. Nande gonna be in the front, Sport Billy as well. Wolfjo will start the channel.
The fountain is big. It's a big advantage at this point for Dignitas, and they just used it. But Wolfjo still grabs the tribute. Dignitas was thinking about re-engaging, but they know they are in a 3 versus 4, and they don't want to take the risk here. So still a 1-level lead, and that was great play from Genji in particular during that fight.
Genji getting a couple kills there. Lunara almost losing that fight for the Playing Ducks, but luckily Sport Billy coming in there and getting those pickups. And you can see the stress that Falstad has with the Genji on them. On the back line, it was literally 2 Shurikens into a swift strike, and he was at half health.
It's one of the reasons why we see so few Falstad plays these days.
Here we are, a fight right away. Here's a replay. Look at Chris on the top left. He's just trying to get some damage in there, but we're going to get him locked down right away in a couple of seconds in that location. JPL finds the moment, jumps in, Stormbolt, Snitch follows up, but watch Sport Billy. Goes in after Cocoon, gets a reset here, and then moves into Mane on the bottom left and takes him out.
And what we're seeing here is also very clearly that there's no real damage against the Cocoon. Nothing that can burst it down quickly, and Dignitas struggles against it. But what I really loved about them in the fight was how fast they collapsed onto Lunara.
Yeah.
Chris was out of position for just a second, and immediately the call is made, and everything unloads on Lunara. Curse Bullet comes in, stun after stun. JPL gets the value out of his level 16 talent, gets the leap in, the stun, the Stormbolt, and that was perfect play. But now we're looking again at the battle here. Once more, trying to go for it. Great play with Aegis being used here, and immediately the gust afterwards, but Eternal is in the backline already. Lunara poking away. Chris doing a fantastic job here.
Cocoon being used at the same time. The drag does connect on JPL. He is getting low on health, down to a quarter, drops down the reverberations. Gonna be fine for now. Eternal moving in for an engage, and Snitch and crew are backing up. They're too bothered here. Wolfjo grabs the curse.
That's the curse they're going for. They get another curse in the top lane is already pushing in. They will at least get the fort down here, and they are going to want more, of course. So once again, they drop the fort. They're working towards 20. Dignitas wants to fight. They're simply saying, we need to fight. If they hit 20, it's over. We need to take it now, and they do. They get the kill.
They all tap there and get tapped off, able to bring in the Curse Bullet, kill off the Haka. So they will slow down the fight from the Playing Ducks, but with 4 people still pushing in and pressure on the top, the Playing Ducks want to keep Dignitas here.
Exactly, they want to keep them low so that they keep up at the top lane falls, and Dignitas is always attempting to turn it around. The Ducks are playing this absolutely fantastic considering that they lost their Haka.
They get the keep.
Even after their Haka fell, they didn't back off because they said, if we back off now, they defend the top keep, we're not getting anything out of the curse. So they know that JPL is looking for a chance to turn it around. So once he starts jumping in, immediately everybody scatters, they go away from the stun and they dodge, they get the value at the top lane. It's an early level 20. Was great play from both teams here after the curse hit.
The Playing Ducks setting up to grab level 20, grab the Mercenaries, have them push in the middle, but Dignitas is hoping not to allow them to have anything. They move aggressively up towards the boss. They thought their opponents would be there. And if they can get a 5v4, even at a 20 disadvantage, they can maybe move in and get the kill.
There's a massive wave in the middle as well.
Yeah,
there's a massive wave putting pressure onto the keep. It's not going to fall, but it's going to take severe damage, which would make it easy for the Ducks to take it down later on. And right now, the Ducks are on level 20 talents. They have their Storm talents. Their Hawkeye is back. Falstad needs to defend. And let's not forget, there's a camp in the mid lane, pressuring that keep even more. This is going to force Falstad to stay here for quite some time.
Dignitas in a spot where they have to stay here, though. They can't allow this boss to go away. That could be lethal for them. So they're all here, ready for their Falstad to fly in. Playing Ducks are going to force the fight before 20 hits.
Cocoon being used already. They're going for Muradin. They're trying to get him. Muradin pops the Avatar. He's solo. Muradin is down. The Ducks are completely on the roll here. They're going in. They're taking everyone. They're trying to go for Bakery now. But the keep in the mid lane is going to be pressured. And all the Ducks have to do is go for the boss. And Dignitas has to make a choice. Either they lose the boss or they lose the mid keep. You don't have to fight here if you're the Ducks. You just have to keep them close.
They're keeping them close here, still 19.5 for Dignitas, and they decide to stay near that boss. And there goes the Mercenary camp. They're starting to hit the keep now here in the middle lane. Dignitas is in a big pinch right at the moment, and Playing Ducks, they keep dancing with them. They're tetherballing them around.
They know they would like to force the fight, and Cocoon in 17 seconds. Cocoon is going to be online faster than Muradin is back in the fight, and then they can force it again. And during the entire time in the middle, we see still the camp getting value. Sport Billy saved by Oriel. Lunara jumps in, slows Zelia heavily. Nande looks for an opportunity. Cocoon is going to be ready in just a second. There we go. He can use it. Is not doing it yet, but the mid keep is about to fall.
The Ducks are really dropping some abilities here, trying to force this fight, but they're not getting it. Now Muradin is up. 20 can be soaked up in experience here in the middle in the top lane. Dignitas may have lasted long enough here to fight their opponents. JPL is already beelining straight for that boss.
Yeah, but Arthur's at the bot lane. They didn't see that, so they are trying to bait the boss here. They want to go for the fight. Dignitas is playing this quite nicely. Oh, if they can flank that though.
Oh, are they
Arthurs and Falstad are still sitting here, both of them. They're trying to set up. Oh my god, Chris with the positioning, trying to get Falstad into an awkward spot, but perfect play by Maynard. JPL with a flank now, gets the Detainment Strike to the face immediately by the Stormbolt. Oh, the kill against the Haka! Dignitas is actually going for it again.
They're going in, they have the heavy impact, they're sitting on Chris. Chris able to get out, but Nande locked down. Cocoon was being used, but Lenora gets picked up by Mayne in the top left, so Chris has fallen. 2 members for the Ducks have been taken out. 2
members down, but still the pressure at the top lane. Great play from Dignitas in making sure that there was no boss taken. They didn't lose the fort in, the keep in the middle.
Boss and curse, right?
They could definitely make that play.
Then they're gonna go for it. You're in a spot where you're pretty far behind. Get that curse going. They leave the catapults alone. They're gonna allow the curse to deal with it. Zelia peels back.
I still would have loved the Cocoon to be used at that fight at the top. They had a 4 versus 5. Arthur's got the Divine Shield, but I really think that Anubarak should have simply started off with a quick Cocoon there. Make sure that they get a kill. They could have synced that up. It was a 4 versus 5. Cocoon was ready. That was their chance. Now, on the other hand, there's still the curse. Catapults are going to fall. There's a bit of damage against the core. It's very likely that the Ducks are going to lose a lot of ground here, but they still are in a fairly okay spot. Still dangerous though, because Dignitas just showed how strong they are in these team fights. The flank that they set up was great. The Ducks with a good attempt to make a trap happen, but right now Dignitas, they are the ones who are really pushing the agenda.
Dignitas pushing with this curse. They still have 40 seconds. The Ducks just need to survive. Maybe give up a keep here if they have to. Poke where they can. Boss finally makes it to the front wall, and we're moving straight up in this top lane. Keep is the next target for Dig.
Yeah, the Hawk had a rough time so far in the series for sure, but right now the 20s are there, and that's of course Redemption. You need to be careful of that Uther. Once again, that keep is going to fall. The question is, can they get more? They're diving into the back. Cocoon is there. They're going to go for Mena. Falstad using the Mighty Gust already, but we still see the 5 versus 5 fight behind the boss, and Arthas is taking a lot of damage here. Divine Shield on Falstad. Sport Billy low. He might fall. Dashes away in the last second, but this fight is not over yet. Genji down as Mena jumps in with the Epic Mount.
He gets a kill there. Nande on the left side. He's low too. Snitch will be able to swipe, and he gets a kill. Wolf Joe and Chris, the only members standing with a Eternal on the right side. They go for Mane. Mane taking some damage, but he's looking at the core. It's dropping down to 40, down to 30, and Dignitas, who was down for a majority of this game in the late game, they make the comebacks necessary, and they'll get the first win in this best-of-5 series.
Dignitas taking the win here, able to turn it around after it looked nearly hopeless, as we saw the Ducks hit 20 and also being able to kill a target, being in a 5 versus 4. I still really like what we saw from the Ducks.
Yeah,
it looked so much better than the last few weeks. It was good coordination. The one thing, and we talked about this during the game, there was a bit more hesitation than usual. They had a shot at taking a keep up at the top lane earlier. They had also a chance to go for boss, and they had a chance to force another team fight when they had level 20 with the Cocoon. They let all 3 slide because they wanted to play it safe. They played it a bit too safe. I still like that they made cautious calls after the performance they had in the last few weeks. I like this so much more. Be a little bit more decisive with what you want to do, and I think they take this game against Dignitas. But overall, massive improvement.
Definitely much more comfortable and confident than we've seen in the last couple of weeks, which was a treat to see. I will say there is a little bit more aggression than I want to see from them, just because it is Dignitas. When you get to the late game, this is what Dignitas used to do in the first phase. They'll wait to the late game, and they'll wait for you to make a mistake, and they'll capitalize. So just make sure to take those moments that do pop up and seize them.
And the one thing that was very crucial about the win for Dignitas was they didn't make mistakes in the late game. They played this extremely well when there were several traps set up by the Ducks, and there was great thinking on their part, making sure that they might get another kill here. But Dignitas never fell into their trap. And then also on an individual level, that Genji kill that we saw from Falstad was also absolutely fantastic. So the last few fights, the coordination was perfect, and Dignitas did exactly what they needed to do there to come back. But that game could have very well ended in favor of the Ducks. And again, their performance today, compared to what we've seen last week, that is a completely new level. If they can really just carry that over into the next few games, that would be awesome. Whatever they changed to this week, so far it's working.
Well, it's working for them. And I mean, talk about that Falstad and Genji matchup. You saw how volatile it can be. It took a Divine Shield and Epic Mount for Falstad to get that 1v1 finally to happen there at level 20. And speaking about Divine Shield.
And the Gust.
And the Gust, that's true. Talking about that Divine Shield, let's look at our supports here for this matchup between the Playing Ducks and Dignitas. Here are both of our players that are supporting these teams. Bakery on the left side, Wolf Joe on the right.
Yeah, so definitely one of the things that also stands out here is if you just look at kill participation alone, the healing, of course, also a lot dependent on which kind of hero you play. But very impressive stats here for Bakery, especially considering that they are on a 2-2 score so far in this phase.
Yeah, nice survivability here from him. And you saw, like, most of the time now in this meta, supports are taking a lot of pressure, and they have to have almost pixel-perfect cleanses or even heroics if you're not picking up the heroes such as Uther and whatnot, and have to go into the Ariel, land those ages. So the deaths a little bit low for both of our teams is very important, a good staple, and these two players are allowing these teams to be successful when they are.
Yeah. So we saw Bakery's also win ratio. He is now on 7-2 again with Uther. So a really important hero for them to play, a crucial part of their composition. But this is definitely one of the things that just highlights again the importance of supports right now. There's a reason we have that double support meta, and it's not as important or as dominant anymore as it was 2 weeks ago, but we still have a lot of double support combinations just because of the massive impact and survivability and sustain they can give to these fights. But with Wolf Joe and Bakery definitely a bit on a higher level here.
Yeah, certainly. And Dignitas looking for those victories, sitting with Bakery, and he'll help him be the backbone of this team. For the next couple of weeks, the schedule looking a little